Hey folks, my name's Ed Trevors. My pronouns are he, him, and his. I'm an Anglican priest serving in the beautiful parish of Christchurch-Shelburne that sits on the ancestral and on the unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. I haven't done this in a while, but thank you for being a part of my life. Thank you for all of your likes and for your subscriptions and for your comments. Thank you for being such wonderful and patient teachers for me. I learned something else a couple of days ago. I think I learned it. Now, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this to you, but I do have moments where I suffer with anxiety. I'm not going to say I have an anxiety disorder or anything along those lines, but when I'm anxious about something, when something has come up, there are times when it absolutely takes over. It grabs me, it throws me down, and it puts its foot on my head. It inundates my brain with thoughts. My brain ends up taking that thing that I'm anxious about and dissecting it, tearing it apart into a million little bits and pieces. It takes it, it assembles it, it disassembles it, assembles it again. It looks at it from every possible angle, upside down, inside out. It asks every possible question that could be asked. My brain ends up becoming desperate to control the moment, to control this issue. It ends up costing me time and energy. It takes away my life for a little while. But something I noticed this past week with the death of my grandmother was something else my brain does. And I'm pretty certain my brain does it in order to keep me safe, to help me, to keep me comfortable, to keep me from experiencing or feeling some really intense emotions. What I found was that when I heard that my grandmother died, the next morning when I woke up, my brain was on fire. But it wasn't worried about my grandmother's passing or my grandmother's death. My brain was inundated. It was churning up all kinds of ideas and adding all kinds of urgency. And it was reminding me of all kinds of responsibilities that I had and when I had to have those things accomplished, and telling me it was opening up doors and possibilities and insights, and it was creating things, and it was imagining things, and it was calling me to enter into that creative space, but instead of with one thing, with 1,000 things. It wasn't focused on one issue. It was offering me 1,000,000 issues to deal with. And what I think was going on was that in order to help me avoid feeling the grief of losing someone that I loved, my brain was leading me down a path of creativity. My brain was trying to protect me by engaging itself in creativity. When I was a kid, I would lock myself in my room for hours and hours and hours playing with Lego, building things, tearing it up, blowing it up, rebuilding it. I would draw and color. I would write. I would imagine and sketch. I would draft pictures of houses. I still remember the first one I ever did. I forgot to put a kitchen in. Creativity has always been an escape for me. When I was lonely, I built things. When I was sad, I built things. When I was angry, I built things. This has been my way. Now this isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's a good way of coping with a loss. But in all fairness, for me to deal with the loss of my grandmother, I actually have to cope with it. I have to address it. Now my brain doing what it wants to do is trying to save me from that. But that'll just mean that I never actually deal with it. These moments that we're given, whether they're painful or not, they are precious. They are to be cherished. They offer us an opportunity to learn and to grow. They offer us an opportunity to explore ourselves, to explore our memories, to explore our future possibilities. These moments are important to our future moments. They shouldn't be buried, even for the best of intentions. We should allow ourselves to experience a moment where we are still, a moment where we sit down face to face with what it is we're dealing with, where we can look at it, deeply. Allow it to look at us. Doing so allows us to hear what that moment has to say. Doing so allows us to give a voice, an important voice, to what it is our hearts are feeling. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord's face be made to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord's countenance be lifted up to you. May you always know the peace of being in the Lord's presence. I pray that as we experience these moments of great emotional weight, these moments of great emotional energy, that we are willing and that we are empowered to sit across from those moments, to appreciate them, to explore them, to examine them, to hold them, to allow them to be what they are meant to be for us, to allow them to be redeemed. Amen.